will to go on. Nietzsche seemed to reject simply finding intellectual answers. And he was starting to try and think, well, can I find what keeps my will going? It's sort of like the rationalists take the will for granted. It's like this ever-ready battery that's always going to be at work. And Nietzsche noticed that, well, no, the will to go on is a question. Steiner said that Nietzsche wasn't really trying to come up with a new set of ideas which seems contradictory to what is normally viewed of Nietzsche. He said Nietzsche was trying to work out how to live with the ideas we've got.
The way I always put it is it really depends on what game you're playing, and you can decide which game you like to play for your life, but that's up to you. But depending on which game you choose to play, you could play the Christian game, you could play the capitalist game, you could play the scientific materialist game, but whichever one you choose to play, you can succeed at it or fail at it on your own terms. But it's a choice.
Yes, I'm not sure if the choice is quite that easy.
Well, character
A
is
lot, a
fate.
lot of things are determined for us, and we think that's ourselves.
Nature versus nurture.
Yeah, I was just trying to point out that it tends to be overlooked to the degree we have sympathies and antipathies and how much they become the truth. We think we're sympathetic to one thing one day, and that's the truth, and the next day we change.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, but this is we we're not entirely passive in regard to how we receive what we conceive of as reality. We're picking and choosing. Uh, I have this standard here. Irish Catholics should rule the world, and when we get rid of the rest, it'll be great.
Don't believe everything your mind tells you.
Well, there's also this prejudice for the individual. This is the Christian or even the Platonic prejudice that somehow the individual sees themselves as an all-important element. The idea of the monad. I'm a monad which descended from the one and mistakenly got bound up in the material world. But another way of viewing myself is I'm just a cog in the big machine. And I have self-reflection, which makes me the better robot. I did notice your little diagram of this sort of socialist theme of extending your level of concern beyond the self to the tribe, to the greater tribe, to all humanity. I don't know if I buy it really. I think we pick and choose what our level of tribe is, and that can always change.
Well,
Eventually, one tribe of humans conquers the planet, then they divide into two tribes and fight each other.
I don't think it's an intellectual exercise. I think it's an emotional movement.
You mean the tribalism or the
Yeah. Well, values. I don't think values has anything to do with cognition. I think it's more to do with emotions.
yes, the emotions are a drive in it, but yeah, your set of ideas will count to a degree.
Yeah.
I've suddenly decided Irish
You hate it.
Catholics are the master race. And I'm going to stick to that, even though reality's telling me something different until I
Yeah.
decide.
The
That's not a
mind
good
is
game anymore.
the mind is an incredible tool. It can construct any framework it wants to come to any conclusion it wants. It's not that hard to do, actually. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, is there something on your minds?
Okay, well, if did you saw what I posted to you this morning. Um,
I might
okay.
have missed it.
I know you said we should do that rarely, but this has arrived that this upcoming, well, not this Friday. We're still on for the new Carl Barks, but for the one after, okay, so this would be anyway. This might not be of any use at all if you're not interested in this book. This is called Habibi by Craig Thompson. It's and I told you the description of it. It's well, you get the idea.
Looks a bit curious.
My husband was a scribe.
Does look interesting, really.
Yeah, there's things about it that make it worth doing.
How many thousands of pages is it?
So yeah, you might want to just limit yourself to maybe first 110 pages or something. But it got good critical review. Anyway, so there's a meeting that's going to be happening on, well, what for me is Monday night, April 6th, and that would be Tuesday afternoon, April 7th for you. And that would be actually, as it happens, 2 hours after the end of that day's Millennium Microcosm meeting. Uh, and so the proposal I'm giving you is we could do exactly the same thing we did for Judas Coin a few days ago, which is have this as our weekly selection, but not meet on our
So,
regular
so
Saturday
the
morning for you.
following
And it
Saturday.
would be it would be the meeting that would happen. It's actually another group, but it'll be 2 hours after that day's Rick meeting. Uh, do you like that idea or no?
Well, I can try and read it. I suppose you can send me
We'll
the.
do like maybe agree to do 120-ish pages. I mean,
So this is Tuesday next week you're talking about.
yeah, it'll be, well, what for you will be April the 7th, Tuesday afternoon,
Oh, April the 7th now. Let's see.
April 7th.
Okay, so in other words,
And we won't meet the
we
the
won't
ne-
meet on the Saturday, but we'll do the
that's
Tuesday.
the idea. Yeah,
Or won't meet on the Friday and do the
that's the
Tuesday.
idea.
Okay, yeah, that sounds
I think you'd have
fine
something
with
to say
me.
about it. Yeah, all right. Okay. Yeah, it was just a coincidence that it happened this way, but there's I think enough of interest here that I think you'd like to talk about. And yeah, it is. You We'll do 120-ish pages or thereabouts. Read until you get tired of reading.
I see you appreciate Angelina.
Well, she doesn't
She likes philosophy and she's slightly hot.
say.
Nice combination, but there's also the downsides.
um, it's one of those things. You see a bunch of people that you think are attractive, but that doesn't mean anything in and of itself. It's just, what comes after that. There has to be some kind of personality or chemistry and I'm a notoriously difficult person to get along with. So,
It takes practice. You'd have to practice getting along with other people from an early age.
I'll keep them
How's
moving.
the program been going for the last 40 years? I mean, I think you pointed out, when you did try to be a bit more social, I don't know what you did, whether you went out to clubs or something like that. Of course, you get the nasties thrown at you, and being a sensitive person, you didn't handle the nasties all that well. A person less sensitive, maybe less intellectual, will actually deal with the nasty social aspects a lot more readily. And that's the trouble. I'm sensitive as well. I'm in a grade school, and the teacher says, "Oh, you're sensitive, aren't you?" And they've got a point. That you would, you'd have the strike a bit of the social nasties, and uh, you would react rather intensely rather than simply leap over it. This is a problem with people are disposed in a certain way. That's why I was saying to Rick, they think that IQ is an advantage. Well, just look at that guy who was one that was going on about the IQs around the world, and he did have an argument. He tested them all along the equatorial belt. The IQ's down around about 75. Now on the belt going along where you've got seasons and you've got bad winters and stuff like that, and, maybe the average is 100. What does the equatorial belt tell us? That without the dangers that require IQ, 75's definitely smarter because the 100 IQs haven't survived. So, it's a bit like Jordan Peterson, who believes he has an IQ of 160, and he's borderline having a nervous breakdown all the time. This is what I suspect was Goethe's story. They claimed that he might have had an IQ which can't really be measured, but one about 210. And Goethe's life seems to have been an exercise in how not to be insane, how to deal with the intellect, how when you have too much intellect, how am I going to develop practices which enable me to live a sound life? And the battles he faced.
Yeah.
The fascinating stories about confronting the doppelganger. It's it's not easy for the individual to climb the mountains of just being human, let alone the cosmos. But that's what you're facing. And Nietzsche comes up, ideas are not enough. I need to find the strength, the willpower to do it. I know, what do you think?
Just basically what you just said is just another way of restating what I said. It depends on which game you choose to play. You can play the game of getting along in the world, getting a job, getting a family, getting good neighbors and car and house. You can play that game and you can succeed at it. But you can also play the game of exploring philosophy, the life of the mind. It can become a religious Zen monk, ascetic. Uh, those are all different games you can play.
What's useful to the particular game you play? Your choice. What's useful? What's a particular?
Did you ever listen to Rush, the band Rush? If you
No.
choose If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice.
Well, the important point in getting along in life with your particular game is that you like it, that you're sympathetic to it. Because woe betide the person who tries to live a life that they're not sympathetic to. Well, if you're going to be a mass murderer, you might as well enjoy it because you won't be a particularly good mass murderer unless you like it. That might sound absurd, but it's not really. This is whatever game you play, it's necessary to be sympathetic to it. And if philosophy is a poor choice, but if you're sympathetic to it, it will, to some degree, work for you.
To some degree.
Well, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
it sounds like a good plan. I'll go for that one. It looks like an interesting comic.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that. I'm not going to make a habit of altering our usual time, but this is worth it. I think. Yeah. Worth it.
I have to get a tooth pulled at a certain point. I'll have to find out when I can get the right moment. Got to
Mm.
put that. So that would be for me Tuesday the 7th. Or
It'll be 2 hours after that day's Rick meeting.
the one that Rick cancels.
He might cancel that day. Who knows? Yeah, we'll have to see when we get there.
But see it. Uh,
Or postpone it
okay,
24 hours.
Tuesday the 7th for me. Okay. What was the Nazi song? That was something like that, wasn't it? It was in Cabaret show. Where is it?
Never seen that.
I haven't seen it either, but I think it's actually
Put it on the movie list.
that's. I think the story there is big because it's talking about that whole Nazi period, and it was the story is created. Uh, oh, just after the war. This is somebody who still appreciates what went on in the interwar year. We form our opinion about the Nazi period from post 1945. We're ignoring what went on before the war when the British royal family was Zig Heiling. We want to ignore that. And somebody pointed out we've made the dangerous move of replacing Jesus with Hitler as the grand jinn. In Jesus, we had somebody to look up to and to say, well, I'm never going to be quite like Jesus. I can try to be like Jesus. I will frame Jesus out the window. Here's Hitler. Here's the example of what not to be. So if I'm not Hitler, I'm good enough. I can just continue to be whatever lousy individual I am, because at least I'm not as bad as Hitler. What an apologist cop out in that we've replaced replaced the good example of Jesus with the bad example of Hitler. It's the message of today is, I think it's Rudolf Steiner said that the message is from the devil will always be stay just as you are. give your fealty to me. I, the devil, will make you whatever you want to be without any effort on your own part. I, the AI, will do every side of the argument for you without any effort on your own part. The message of the devil, according to Steiner. Just stay as you are, and I will fix it all for you. I'm Mr. Wolf. I'm Mr. Fix It out of Pulp Fiction. He's the devil. Yeah, what was it? Oh, yeah, Tomorrow Belongs to Me, the greater Nazi Reich. I can think of it. Well, I can do the song for the humanist, Tomorrow Belongs to Me. The Marxist, Tomorrow Belongs to Me. They're all singing that song. The Muslims, the Tomorrow Belongs to Me. In Cabaret show, it points out something about the whole trip with fascism, that the fascists were, they deny this, the fascists were socialists. They'd come from the Marxists. A lot of the, Nazi SS had been members of the Communist Party in earlier days. It was Benito Mussolini had been a Marxist. He saw in World War One that Marx's central tenet that the workers of the world would unite against the tribalism didn't work. And then he saw Lenin's Soviet state, which was a horror story. And so he evolved the fascist concept. And so you had two evils in the world. You had fascism and Marxism. And of course, the capitalists and the landowners looked at the two evils and decided the fascists were the lesser of two evils. Some point out the Nazis were a little bit of a deviation from fascism, which is probably true. And that was the thing in Cabaret show, that this rich industrialist who's using the Nazi party to protect them against the Marxists, he gets warned by, this triad he's in. He's this rich industrialist. He's got this other guy, and Liza Minnelli's playing the woman, and they're in the triad, and they go and they see the Nazis singing that little song, Tomorrow Belongs to Me, and everyone gets up fanatically, salute Zig Heil him, and they drive away, and he says to the rich industrialist, you think you're really going to be able to control the Nazis? This contains that message. This is a guy, who went through the experience, is describing what went on in the interwar years, which is a message which gets ignored. Yeah, Cabaret show. I've never watched it, but I do know this element in the story.
Want to put it on the movie list?
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
Yeah, we can do it. Not fun.
Anyway, I've got a lot of stuff to do.
Did I ever show you? I don't know if I ever showed you this. Does this look familiar?
Oh, okay.
It's an interesting model because you kind of wonder, why are there two different conservatives? Why are there two different liberals? This explains it.
Well, you're trying to rise above zero-dimensional thinking, that you have different types of Nazis and different types of fascists. And
Well, there are two different kinds of liberals who really don't get along with each other.
okay, so we've got necessary evil. Okay, various libertarians. Okay, so we've got you're putting Max Stirner, enlightened egoism, at odds with the rest of the libertarians. Is that what it's saying? communists, welfare liberalists, dangerous but good, state worship. I think this is an interesting thing that Nietzsche had a really bad image of socialism. He said it was going to be one of the worst things that humanity's ever going to go through, remembering, of course, that fascists and Nazis were socialists too. And so are a few others. And I think I'm starting to wonder why he disagreed with socialism so much. And I think it comes down to Rudolf Steiner's point. Well, this is in World War One where he's saying there's all these people calling themselves socialists now. The funny thing is the most antisocial people I've ever met are socialists.
Mm.
They don't actually practice what they preach because they've lacked it as a practice, as a talent. They're seeking some objective force to come along and make society social for them when they're not really making much of an effort on their own part. And I think this is perhaps where Nietzsche's point when he said our life depends on us making an effort.
Mm.
And we're going to have to find out how to enjoy making the efforts.
Mm.
And where I think this is underlying his, what does not kill me makes me stronger. That, this is what I saw when I was a socialist. I envisaged a state that was going to be my parent, which would hand everything to me easily, even my social life. And to some degree, there is a role for the state in the social aspect. But socialism is the kid that never wants to grow up, that who wants the world to be a creche, a socialist creche where everything is just handed to them. And unfortunately, life can't really work like that. And Nietzsche points out that unfortunately, we're built to struggle. We don't like struggling. We get a bit tired of it, but it enhances our ability to live. That if you build a whole society where everybody just became lazy in every aspect, that, well, they wanted socialism without the willingness to struggle towards being social themselves, you're going to end up with a society of dropouts, which is what we're seeing now. Actually, the amount of people on the streets, it's not like 50 years ago where the cop would pick you up, dust you off, and tell you to go to church, look for a bit of help, and the churchman would tell you, but you've also got to help yourself. You have to stand on your own feet as well. We'll help you stand on your feet, but this is what you need to do. There's a dropouts, as they point out. I'm quite happy being on the streets because I don't have to make an effort. And, this is something which would almost work for the bushman, although the bushman had to follow his father and learn all the tricks of the trade. But he lived a happy existence, I suppose, the bushman, just go out hunting each day, having adventures, an eternal childhood of a variety, although Bushman had to be an adult as well. But this is a story. I think I remember one boss I had warning that, people are just too institutionalized. We send them to school, and the school, unfortunately, teaches them to be passive inhabitants of a creche. And as much as the creche has its role, to live, you really need to get outside of that. And I think, this was Nietzsche's point, that a society can only thrive when enough of the individuals in it strive for, the excellence. This is the absolute downfall of socialism, when they start lowering all the scores so everybody can pass. We'll, have D, what is it? special hires for, airline pilots. I'm afraid our human society, a lot of the progress is built on aiming for excellence. I mean, look at our wonderful machines and tools around us today. They are a product of people that strive for excellence. Maybe we should be back in the cave. I don't know. But I know that, you couldn't have gotten this modern world with all its faults without us striving for excellence. But the socialist principle seems to be going, no, we'll just take it easy. And I don't know. I used to be a socialist, but I just don't think it works. I think that's the fault in it. And I think people like Steiner and Nietzsche observed this was a problem that, unfortunately, it's like being, a businessman that's, you just have to go out there and you fail the first time and then it's try again a few times until you've learnt the ropes. And unfortunately, we weren't given always an easy ride, even though an easy riders are looking for the easy ride. You've watched the film, have you?
No.
Oh.
I'm
Yeah, well, the whole thing, you've got two jokers, Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper, a couple of bikies. And they pick up Jack Nicholson, who's a bit of a smart ass. They go to this town, Jack Nicholson's in the cafe, smoothing up to all the girls who, you know what women are like. They're always excited by the male from out of town, making the local caveman very upset. They go outside the city and they camp somewhere, and the hooligans from the town find them and beat them up with baseball bats, and they kill Jack Nicholson, perhaps not intending it. And the other two jokers survive the beating, and they just think, well, let's just bury Jack and be on our merry way. Whereas responsibility would have required them of reporting the death to the local authorities, who would have had to have chased up the thugs from the town, which means the next time the thugs are just going to do the same thing. Peter Fonda and Dennis Hopper just took the easy path and failed in their responsibility to society. And that's the message in the film, that this new America is too much of easy riders. You get people like Karl Barth. Karl Barth lived in a generation which had a spiritual atmosphere which was more positive. His easy ride was the spiritual atmosphere. This is where we've got it tough today. People say it's, it was Angelina was complaining to me. She sends me a million messages every day. I was saying, well, I don't see why Americans should complain. Why don't they go to Africa and something and see how tough life can be? She goes, I've got lots of friends in America and they're always complaining that life's tough there. And she's right in a certain aspect that America spiritually is the tough place. But I mean, in material terms, it's easy. But yeah, Goethe would say, yeah, watch out for the spiritually hard place. Karl Barth still lived in a generation where people still had a bit of that positive sort of Christian sort of aspect, but he lived in a world where it wasn't easy riders. This was an earlier America, which was rising. It was still a tough place where you were striving for a bit of excellence. He found his. Everyone wants an easy ride, and it's the school as an institution which is preaching that. You know, we could all just have an easy ride. And Marx was almost preaching that. I could go and do philosophy in the afternoon and chase sheep in the morning, and his ideal Nutter's Island. Unfortunately, our society does operate on specialisation. I'm afraid that's the capitalist efficiency. So I say to socialists, why don't you go out and form your communist company? There's nothing in the law that's going to stop you, but it means that you would all have to be truly dedicated to your unselfish ideal. Who knows, you might even succeed. Unfortunately, most of the cooperatives fail because it's very difficult of replacing the drive of the very dedicated individual, sort of an Elon Musk type figure who's willing to jump through all the hoops and play all the games, and he's willing to give up time, his personal time, for this idea he has. I mean, Elon Musk got in the government with Trump, and their plan was, well, we've really got to balance the budget. And, there's too many people who are taking advantage of welfare, which is true. And Elon was a purist who wanted to keep on with it. And Trump very soon realised that he'd get his throat cut. Trump being more the realist. And so now he's the emperor of America. What happened to Rome when they had, their society had changed so much through the obscene wealth they had obtained when they defeated Carthagena, and their upper elite became a bit corrupt. Well, can we stop the dole? Can I put, what was his name? Gracchus. Can I put the poverty-stricken people back on the land again, like they were in the past? But no. After 100 years of the civil war, so I've got a problem feeding people in Rome. I'll invade Egypt. It's easier to invade Egypt than to get people off the dole in Rome. Oh, got the example of the probably a small example, but the family that had bought $120 car, oh sorry, $120,000 car, and we're paying that off. And after that, to make ends meet, they're on food stamps. And when they're discovered, the food stamp people say, well, you're going to have to sell the car to remain on food stamps. This is it. I see, well, I see this in a bit in Angelina as well, that the socialism is society can pay me some of my costs while I go out to enrich myself. And they say what a dream socialism is, but this is the this dichotomy that, well, you're saying society should pay your way, and when you make a profit, I'm going to retain it for myself. That's my wish. And this seems to be how a lot of them think. I know I was a socialist up until I was in my 40s, and I studied a lot of stuff, and it changed my aspect. I think the church had it a bit better with charity, in that it was a goodwill exercise to try and help people improve on their situation. I remember Rick talking about the community hospital, but yes, they didn't give free health care on demand. If you were octogenarian that had, 10 expensive operations to keep you alive another year. They hit that nail on the head. If you're a kid with a broken arm, yeah, well, you've got a lot of future potential service to the community. We will fix your broken arm for free if you can't pay it. But the present medical system is that the person who's at the end of their life who's asking for continual repairs feels that they can demand that legally, and the state doesn't seem to be able to knock it on the head. You're tying up, how much surgery time in one person who hasn't got that much long to go. Whereas you could be used, I think, what is it, about half the hospital work is bound up in individuals who've got 1 year to live, I've heard the claim. And therefore, you're denying all these people, these poorer people who doesn't take that much to fix up a bit. Or you're bankrupting the state. Well, a lot of complexities there. Any thoughts? I'll leave you with the last word.
No, man.
Thank you very much, David. I'll catch you next time.
Okay. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.